Hey, and what is up guys, and welcome to today's video. When doing my research for this video, I actually looked up the most popular videos on YouTube about how to make a Wabikusa ball. You know, those tutorial style videos. And I was shocked. I was literally shocked by the results I found in those videos. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame any of those guys making the videos, but I think the point is, I guess none of them has ever had the real original Wabikusa ball from Japan in his hands. Luckily, I had such an opportunity in 2015 when I joined Takashi Amano and the team of aquascapers to build the 40-meter aquarium in Lisbon, and we used quite a lot of Wabikusa in this big aquarium. Actually, luckily we had the Wabikusa because, you know, it was very easy to plant the big aquarium with the Wabikusa balls. And as you can imagine, at the end, some of the balls were left over, and us volunteers, we got, you know, a handful of balls to take back home and kind of keep them as a little souvenir. And after those Wabikusa balls, you know, after a while, the plants died off, I was able to crack open them and look what's actually inside. I've been wondering about that for a long time. And I have to make a disclaimer. I don't know the exact recipe, but I can report from my own observations. And this is what I'm gonna do in today's video. I'm gonna show you how I think is the best way to build a Wabikusa ball that is most accurate and close to the original Wabikusa balls in Japan. Let's get started. As explained guys, I have seen those Wabikusa balls firsthand, and what I observed was a very coarse material. There was definitely no moss, there was no soil, there was no clay. It was very coarse fabric. I guess something like peat moss or cocoa fiber. I definitely examined some cocoa fiber in there, and there was some pumice stone and small pebbles. Since I don't have pumice stone available, I just have the pebbles. The reason for, you might be wondering, well, those Japanese Wabikusa balls are meant to be not just used for immersed decoration, of course, you could do that, but they're also used in aquariums for planting to speed up things. And those substrate balls with a lot of plants, they have an uplift. And if the substrate ball is not heavy enough or is missing the pebbles, then it can float up. Since I try to be as environmentally friendly as possible, I'm gonna use cocoa fiber. For that purpose, I used this compressed, or I bought this compressed cocoa fiber that is for terrarium use, I guess. So no additional fertilizer has been used here. It's been washed and dried, so it is as clean as possible. And to get started, I have to soak this cocoa brick. So this is step one to, you know, get your cocoa fiber ready to be used and formed into a substrate ball. Let's take this brick, put it to the water, and turn on a little time lapse. The cocoa fiber cube has been soaking for 20 to 30 minutes in total by now. Of course, it's not completely falling apart into pieces, so we're going to help it a little bit. But in general, be aware it needs approximately half an hour to get soaked and get soft, and so you can start shaping it. And yeah, I'm just going here inside and crumbling everything. But actually it's already kind of ready to use. I mean, those smaller pieces are going to soak up the remaining water, obviously. But then when creating the balls, you're going to see the excess moisture is going to be squeezed out. Okay, so let's move this tray to the middle, put the tank to the side. And I have two types of thread over here. And one of them is very important that you use. So this one over here is not going to dissolve in water. It has polyester in it. So the other one is pure cotton, and this one is going to decompose over time. So what I'm looking for is this one for that specific purpose, because the base of the substrate ball I want to stay in shape for a long period of time. So now is the question how big you should make the ball. If you're making the balls for planting aquariums, you can make them bigger. for me, for the small glass, I don't want it to be too big, but as of right now, you can see it's approximately the size, slightly bigger than a tennis ball, I would say. I think that is fine, you know, if I have a slightly smaller ball, because I'm going to make several of them for multiple purposes. And if you want to know what those purposes are, stick around until the end of the video. And just in general, make sure you're subscribed to find out. Okay, so I kind of created it, but what is missing, I forgot, is those gravels. So this is just the amount of soil. Okay, cocoa fiber. I'm going to open it a little bit, spread it out here, and take approximately, I don't know, just a little amount of these. Put them in the middle of the mix and then try to create the ball again so that all the small gravels stay inside. Now let's grab the cotton thread, or not cotton, just that nylon thread, and you can just literally put one end somewhere, it doesn't matter, and start wrapping around. Just rotate the ball, and you don't have to press as of right now too much because it is going to fall apart. As you can see, you know, it is still very loose at this moment, and I'm just rotating the ball constantly in a circle. And by now, if you take a closer look, you can see, you know, like every centimeter or so, it is tied together. At the same time, what I try to do, not to make a perfect ball. A perfect ball is going to roll and has a much smaller surface area. So what I want is more of a, I don't know, flattened ball, as you can see here. So I'm constantly pressing it with my hands from like top down and from the bottom. And this creates like a patty, you know, because I really want the surface at the top for the plants to be added. And the more I wrap around, the tighter it becomes. And you see now there is already so much pressure on the ball that some moisture starts to drip out. Just like to give it a couple wraps on the outside. This is going to, you know, prevent the strings from falling apart once, if I would decide to dry it out. But then it's important also to go back and give it a couple vertical wraps again. And we're basically done. So now I have built this cocoa fiber substrate ball, substrate patty, you can call it whichever way you want.